Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. HPH goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. HPH affiliate groups welcome everyone regardless of religious or non-religious background and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members. So we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
I almost did a shortcut and tripped over your cord.
Oh no, oh no.
I'm assuming everybody can hear me without a microphone? Okay, good. Very excited for today. Christine Salter is a psychic and evidentiary medium, spiritual teacher, and healer who's passionate about assisting grieving people in opening their own spiritual gifts of spirit communication. Her kind and compassionate approach encourages people to explore their connection with spirit, including loved ones who have passed, while gaining trust in themselves that they can. Christine is dedicated to supporting people on their spiritual and healing journey so that they may reclaim their inner light that was dimmed by the passing of a loved one. To learn more about Christine and to book a session, visit her website, which is christinesalter.com. If you can't remember that, take a photo of her name tag before you leave, put a .com on the end, and you will be there. So without further ado, Christine, come on up.
Yay, Christine. Thank you, Dad.
I got goosebumps walking through all the kids.
Oh.
First off, Elizabeth, as always, thank you for inviting me. I love, 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 love working with parents because you guys are the ones, I'm just covered in, it's like I have a giant hug from the kids right now. You guys are the ones that are determined to figure out how this works so you can reach your kids. And so I love supporting you guys because come heaven or high water, you're gonna figure it out. And you guys have made the choice to come here today. You made the choice to show up for yourselves and for your kids. And so honestly, I think you should give yourselves a round of applause or a pat on the back because this isn't easy, right? But here you are. You're still standing and you're, gosh, sorry, I've got someone all over me right now. So anyway, I'm Christine Salter. I've been doing healing work for over 20 years. I started into mediumship in 2006. I didn't know I was a medium. I'm not a natural born medium. And I feel like that's really important because when people think, I don't know who I have on me, I'm sorry, try and ignore it. People will hear, oh, I talked to grandma since I was 5, and then people automatically think, well, that means I can't do that, and that's not the case at all. I was 26 when I stepped onto this path, so it's been a few years. Anyway, I know that you guys can do it. I've really dedicated a lot of my life to supporting parents and opening up their abilities. Now, I don't really call them gifts. And the reason why is because I feel like if I say I'm so gifted, that means somebody else isn't. It's a natural ability. Everybody can do it. Everybody has the inner electrical plumbing to do it. And it's just a matter of learning to trust yourself, feeling the pull from your kids because they're like, come on, come on, come on, come on, we can do this. And stepping into something new. So one of the things that I like to do, yes, we are going to work with the pendulum today. It's one of my favorite tools. It's lots of fun. It's fun for me to watch you guys because you ooh and you ah light comes on, and that's amazing. But what I would like to do first, thank you, my concierge up here, just wants me to remind everybody, if your phone is on, if you could put your ringer on silent for me real quick, that would be helpful, or check it, because I assure you, somebody's phone will probably go off, and they'll be like, oh my God, I turned it off. I'm like, yeah, your kid, it was your kid. So if you guys could just check that. We are gonna work with the pendulum. I'll go over in detail some information about that, but what I want to start with is a guided meditation to get us present, to get us grounded, to bring in the kids so you can already start to feel them. So, I'm going to ask you to put your feet on the floor. You're going to close your eyes for me, nice and relaxed. Right this second, and this may sound a little strange, but I'll explain later, I would like you to check in on your tongue in your mouth and see what is your tongue doing right now. So keep your eyes closed and just notice. Is it pushing against your teeth? Is it pushing against the roof of your mouth? Is it nice and relaxed on the floor of your mouth? If it's doing anything other than laying on the floor of your mouth, you're in fight or flight mode. What I would like you to do is put your hand on your heart, relax your tongue on the floor of your mouth, and take a slow, deep breath, imagining you could breathe in through your heart and out through your heart. Checking in on your tongue, making sure your tongue stays nice and relaxed. Breathing in through your heart, out through your heart. And this is switching over your nervous system to your rest and digest, relaxation mode. So anytime you're feeling yourself stressed, this is a quick way you can check in with yourselves. Now, using your imagination, and it may feel like you're totally making it up, and that's perfectly fine. I want you to ask Archangel Michael, even if you don't really know who that is, ask him to come in and stand beside you. And using your imagination, see if you can just notice, where did your attention go? Left or right? We're going to ask Archangel Michael just to stand with us today while we're working with the pendulum and while we're in this meditation. So breathing in through your heart, nice and relaxed. Breathing out through your heart, nice and relaxed. I want you to bring your attention to the top of your head. Using your spidey senses, just notice what you notice at the top of your head. Does it feel tight? Is it tense? Is it loose? Do you have a headache? What do you notice going on up there? And if you notice nothing, that's fine too. And bringing your awareness now down to your neck. We're just going to notice what's going on with our neck right now. Does it feel tight, tense, loose? Do you want to move it around a little bit? If you feel like you need to move, that's okay. And bringing your awareness now down to your shoulders. How do your shoulders feel? Does it feel like the weight of the world sitting on them? If it does, just simply set it aside for now. Bring your shoulders up to your ears and squeeze and drop them. Now continue scanning. Check into your chest. Just see, what do you notice? How does it feel in there? Again, is it tight? Is it tense? Is it loose? Is there a lot of emotion sitting in there? If there is, you can take a nice deep breath in and blow it out hard. And still journeying through our body, feel into your abdomen. See how that feels. Just notice, we're not judging. And bringing your awareness now to your upper back. How does that feel in your upper back? If you'd like to draw your shoulder blades together and squeeze, you can. And bringing your attention now down to your low back. How does that feel? It may feel totally comfortable and normal, and that's fantastic. Bringing your awareness now down your right leg. Checking how that's feeling. Down your left leg. Checking how that's feeling. And I want you to imagine now, and you may again feel like you're totally making it up. Imagine that you have a little cord hanging down from your tailbone, like a little retractable cord on an old-fashioned vacuum cleaner. And using your imagination, I want you to notice, is it plugged into the earth or is it just kind of dangling there? If you notice it's just kind of dangling there, we're going to ground you back into the earth. I want you to imagine you can reach down and plug yourself back in. And you may notice that some energy comes up this cord into your physical body. This energy is just going to help you stay centered and grounded. So allow that energy to flow if you're having that experience. Feeling centered, feeling grounded, feeling safe in your physical body. In your mind, I want you to ask your child to come and be present with you. Come and ask them to stand behind you. Using your imagination in your mind's eye, or feeling, see if you can notice their energy behind you. In your imagination, if you could look behind you, see if you can see them. And yes, you'll probably feel like you're making it up, and that's okay. And I want you to ask them now, put your hands on my shoulders. And what you're going to feel for is something along the following: a touch, a tap, an itchiness, static electricity, a vibration, warmth. You might feel it on the top of your head. You might feel it on your shoulders. Your whole back might start buzzing. I want you just to notice, not try to make it happen, just notice what you're experiencing. And tell them, make it so strong I can't possibly misunderstand it. And when you start to feel it, I want you just to give me a little nod. I see some head nods going. If you haven't felt it yet, I want you to breathe, because a lot of people start holding their breath. We're just going to notice. Okay, I have a few more nods. Tell them, make it so strong I can't ignore it. So maybe at the top of your head, you might feel them touch your face. You might feel the touch on your arm. You might feel a tap on your lips if they give you a kiss. It might make your head itch as you feel their energy. I want you to say their name in your head a couple of times. We're going to make an energetic connection with them. And I want you just to say hi to them and see what pops right back into your mind. And again, take a breath, so you're not holding your breath. And see if you hear something in your head, not with your physical ears. That'd be like a thought that comes in. If you receive something, go ahead and give me a little nod so I can see. And those that haven't yet, take a breath. So your kiddos are standing right behind you, more than ready to work with our tool today, the pendulum. So they're not going anywhere. When you're ready, I'll have you open your eyes, knowing that they're standing right behind you. I'm going to have you get out your pendulums, and I am going to set my microphone down so I have an extra hand. So. See if I can move this stuff up. Okay, so who can see their kids in their imagination, even if you feel like you're making it up? Okay, any of you not feel them or not sense them or not notice them? Okay. So for you, I want you just to close your eyes again and just ask them again to touch you. You might feel like a stroke on your head or pressure on your shoulders. So I just want you to sit there and just feel and just notice, because it's going to be really subtle. Okay? All right, so pendulum. I have my little toy from the first time that we did this class at the first Helping Parents Heal conference, and these were part of, these were part of the class, and one of the ladies said, Christine, I think there's a problem with mine, and so she showed me, and this is a chakra pendant. It's already trying to move, and it's missing the root on it, and so I'm like, I think you're a little ungrounded here, we'll just switch. So I have hers and she has mine somewhere in, I think, Australia or something. So it's kind of funny how things just work out. So the pendulum is a divination tool. So this is a tool that we can use to communicate with your kiddos, with your guides, with other loved ones, but today kiddos have center stage, I have no doubt. But I wanted to talk about the pendulum before we work with the pendulum, just so you guys have some framework about it. So one of the questions people will ask me about is it really me doing this? And people always want to know because they're afraid that they're making it up and they're making the pendulum move. And I have heard lots of opinions on it, and I'll give you mine. So 20 years ago, I was a massage therapist, and that's how I kind of got onto my spiritual journey. And I would do Bach flower essence blends for clients, custom blends. And so I'd use my pendulum just to double check with my guides. And one of the ways that you can see spirit is in a darkened room with just a little bit of light, usually coming from behind you. You can learn to see auras and things like that. And so I was in my darkened massage room and I was using the pendulum, and I literally, with my physical eyes, saw a spirit hand reach out and touch my pendulum and was helping me with, goosebumps again, helping me with the pendulum. And so when people say that it's your unconscious or your subconscious, I'm just not buying it because of what I saw with my physical eyes. And so, because there's a lot of opinions about there about a lot of things, I'm gonna suggest to you that you go with what resonates in your core and take that as your truth, knowing that over time, what you understand can shift. But if things are confusing, always go back to how you feel in your gut about something. So with the pendulum, because it's a divination tool, it is energy sensitive. And because it's energy sensitive, we need to make sure that we're clearing the energy off of our pendulum, not every time you use it, but I would say probably at least once a week or once a month, just depending on how often you're using it. And I'll show you in a second how to do that. But when it comes to asking questions, this is what I think is most important. That when you go to ask questions using your pendulum, and you're not asking your pendulum, you're asking your kid, and it's coming through the pendulum, the questions really need to be kind of short and to the point. Yes or no questions are always going to be much better. And any question where you ask, should I do this or should I do that, there's so much free will and choice in that, that anything that is answered after that, after a should, means that you are wrong if you don't do what you've asked with the should. And you'll also might hear the term stop shoulding all over yourself. So, choices, not shoulds. Coulds, not shoulds. But when you're talking with your kiddos, I think particularly in the beginning, it's important to try to fine-tune your questions and do yes or no questions. If they answer in a way that you're not certain about, ask more questions. That's the beauty of it. Once you can talk with your loved ones, you can ask more questions. So I like to teach automatic writing. And it never fails that when we're working, somebody will get a message, and it's a short message, and I'll ask them about it. And they're just like, I don't know. I'm like, great, my favorite thing in the world. Good, ask. If your child was sitting next to you on the couch right now and they're answering very short sentences, you're going to be asking more questions of them. You're not just going to go, oh, okay, that's great. On to the next thing. You're going to continue a conversation, and so it's part of communicating with spirit is learning how to have a conversation and asking questions that will get you more of the answers that you're looking for. So this is a great tool. This is more of a beginner tool in my experience, because you can ask yes or no's, you can get insights, you can get my favorite I love you, and we'll do that. We'll show you how they'll say I love you through your pendulum. But ultimately you can start to use it, stop it. You can start to use it later to confirm maybe what you're already getting thought-wise into your mind. I just don't want people to be fully dependent upon it and continue to develop their abilities of mind-to-mind telepathy and communication with your kids. So I think that's ultimately where they want you to go, but this is a lot of fun to play with. So I'm going to have you take out your pendulums. You don't already have them out. Okay. So we're going to clear our pendulums. I'm going to put this down now because I do need both hands. Can you guys hear me okay without the pendulum? Or without the pendulum. Let's try that again. Without the mic, it might just be easier. Okay, so let me see your pendulums. Ooh, they're so pretty. So a pendulum, you want it to have some weight on the bottom. You want it to have a long enough string, but you don't want it to be too long because your kids have to get it moving. And if it's like, and if it's really long, then it just takes more energy for them. So to clean your pendulum, to prepare it for communication, we're going to put it in your non-dominant hand. So you're just going to place it in your non-dominant hand. We're going to cover it. We're going to cup it with our other hand. I always imagine like I'm rolling some dice, like this thing has got some fluff or some dirt on it. I want you to imagine through the palms of your hands, you have some white light that'll come out of your hands. You have palm chakras, you have energy centers. So we're just going to imagine, like, just going to kind of clean this thing off. I'm going to fill it full of white light. And I'm just going to shake until I feel like, that feels good. There's no right, there's no wrong necessarily. But if you're getting what I'd call muddy answers or things aren't making sense, that'd be a good time to go back and clean your pendulum. So I'm going to have you also in your mind, imagine your pendulum is in a bubble of white light. So just put that in a bubble of white light. Every pendulum that you use, you need to understand how it's going to communicate with you, not how you're going to communicate with it. So we're going to ask our pendulum. So you want to hold it with 2 fingers. It has a little ball or something, just nice and loose with our hand. I like to hold it in my non-dominant hand. That's just me. We're going to ask our pendulum, show me yes. So you can say it out loud or say it and show me yes. And you're just going to do your best to hold still. Show me yes. Make it big. Take a breath. Those of you with your pendulum's not moving. Take a breath. Relax a little bit. Try and hold your hand out a little bit more. For those of you whose pendulum isn't moving, show me yes. Tell it. Be in charge of your pendulum. Say, show me yes. Say it out loud. Show me yes. Make sure that you have the chain as loose as possible. So hold it with a little ball. Show me yes. And those of you are having a little, I'll come up to you. So if you're having a little challenge with it, show me yes. Stop it. Show me no. Show me no. And every pendulum you use, you need to find out what its language is. If it's shaking, they're putting energy into it. So just tell it, show me no. Be in charge of that pendulum. So my yes is a big circle, my no is back and forth. And if yours is shaking a little bit, just, if you want to give it just a little tiny nudge, that's fine. Okay, and most of you have your pendulum, you got your yes, you have your no. Okay, so we already called in your kiddos. We're gonna stop. I always like to make mine stop. I like to make them work for it for some reason. So I'm gonna talk to Archangel Michael because that's just who I like to work with. So ask your kiddos to step forward to the pendulum. Ask them if they're here. See if it starts moving. Ask your kiddo if they're here. And you might feel something while we're doing this. All right. See, some of your pendulums aren't quite working, and I promise I'll come over to you in just a couple minutes and help you out. Okay. Your kiddos are here. Raise your hand if yours says yes. All right, excellent. So let me ask you guys a question. I want you to throw out a couple of ideas real quick, okay? So you have this amazing tool and you can ask pretty good yes or no questions. What would you want to ask them? What would you ask them?
Are they happy where they are?
Are they happy where they are? Let's ask that. Are you happy where you are? Are you happy where you are? And if you're kind of feeling tight about it, just take a breath, relax into it. Your pendulum's answering. Are your kids happy where they are?
Yes.
Those that are answering, yes. What else do we ask them? Are you at peace? Are you at peace? Ask them. And you certainly have to be able to be open to hear what their answer is. You have to be open to hear what their answer is. Because if you ask them a question that has a lot of emotion to it and you're afraid what they might say, you may not get such a clear answer. You might kind of get in the way of that. So are they at peace? So I know you all have a favorite sign from them. I absolutely know that. So ask them, hey, is this sign, whatever it is that you? Ask them with your pendulum. So I don't have a kiddo in spirit, and I just asked Archangel Michael a question, and mine says no. But I asked him if he comes to me as a bird, and no. No, he does not. All right. Ask him this question. Ask your kiddo, okay? Ask them if their name is, and then pick a name. Pick a name. Maybe their main name may not be their name. Pick a name. Is your name Julie? See what your pendulum does.
Always going the opposite way. That's great.
I got some laughs back there. What? I love it. I start getting these faces of like, what? Yeah, right? Is your name Raphael? And try and hold your hand still, as much as you're comfortable. Is my name Sarah? So ask me questions. You can ask it, so mine's like, no, your name's not Sarah. So ask me questions. See what kind of answers you get here. Is my name Christine? Yep, sure enough. It should know your answers, right? Right? Exactly. The pendulum's like, yes, it should. What else would you want to ask your loved one? Because I think that's the one place that parents get a little kind of stuck, like, what do I ask them? I don't know. So having a list of questions is also a good thing to have in advance. You can ask, was it your time? Was it your soul time to go? You have to be willing to hear the answer. Was it your soul time to go? You have to be brave enough to ask, right? Now, of course, I'm talking Archangel Michael, and it's like, I haven't been incarnated, Christine, so, you know. What answers do you get? Are you able to hear that message? Was it your time to go? Yeah. It's a hard message to receive sometimes, isn't it? Yeah, we don't like that one, of course, as a parent. What else would you like to ask?
If there's a certain loved one with them?
Great, ask them. Ask them, is whomever with you? So hold your pendulum up and ask. I'll ask, is my grandma with me? She may or may not be right now. Apparently my grandmother didn't come with me today, but I didn't ask her. That's okay. Oh, let's see. Do I have Archangel Raphael with me today? Oh, look at that. You have other loved ones with you? Is your pendulum saying so? Apparently I have my team, Raphael and Michael, with me today because that's who always comes with me. You can ask your other loved one to take the place and switch, and you can ask that loved one to come through, and you can say, is so-and-so with me? And see what it does. Because you just asked, are there other loved ones with me? So ask them to come in, ask them to stand behind you. Oh, it's my grandmother here now. Had inserted in my head. She was here. So, ask pendulum, is blank at the pendulum? Is mom at the pendulum? So send a thought out. See what your pendulum does. Relax and breathe. I hear you back there. That's crazy. Right? Oh, that's a great question.
Why would they be?
Yeah,
right
right.
here?
I'm like, duh, we're standing right here. Ask your loved one, are you okay? You know, are you okay? You can ask, did I make the right decisions for you? If that's a concern of yours. Because I know that's a concern of parents a lot. Did I do the right thing? Is there more I could have done for you? People want to know that too. Because they think the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Ask them about the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Should I have done more? Oh, there's that should word. We know the answer to that. We're not going to ask that. Was it my place to do more? Ask that question. What else would you like to ask them? You have an open communication right here. Ask yourself, are you willing to hear what they have to say? Are you willing to hear what they have to say? No. No, who isn't? All right. I'm like, all right. So, is anybody else bring in another loved one? Are you talking with somebody else via the pendulum? Yes? No? Okay. So, do you want to shift gears and ask somebody else to come in? I know we want to talk to the kiddos, but just for practice. Because you might notice that the pendulum feels a little bit different when somebody else is working with the pendulum, when another spirit loved one is working with the pendulum. So say dad. Maybe you have dad in spirit. You're like, oh, it's funny, I was thinking about it the other day. There's no real reason for it. It wasn't in your face, but he's like, hello, knock, knock. It's me, I'm here. So is somebody coming into your head right now? Somebody else besides your child is in spirit. Unless you have more than one child, then you can ask them to switch spots. And take a breath. Relax into it. You might feel them touch you while we're doing this. Again, it feels like a touch, a tap, a tingle, static electricity. I always look like I have bugs on my hair, and I don't. Spirit likes to touch the top of my head because it's hard to ignore. So who brought in another loved one? Okay. Is it feel like it's moving differently? There's like a different feel that comes along with it. And it might be lighter, it might be heavier. And you can switch. You can bring in another loved one. You can connect with a guide using this. But the yes or no questions are definitely going to be the easiest, most concise answers to get. And my pendulum says, yes, let's make this easy. Let's make this easy on you, make this easy on them. So, let's do my favorite thing. Ready? Show me I love you. Ask your kiddo, show me I love you. Notice what it does. This should be different than the yes or no. So take a breath, relax into it, allow it to move. Show me I love you. Make it big. Tell them, make it big. So I can't possibly miss it. It may be a reverse circle. It might go in a different direction. I see a bunch of big circles over there. Say, show me big. Excellent. How's it going out there? Surprised? Oh, I'll help you, I promise. She's like, this thing's not working for me.
No.
Okay, yeah.
The first time I did it, when I was listening on the Zoom, whatever, it didn't work. I was just like, I was watching everybody, and I'm like, mine's not working.
Okay.
But the more I sat with it and did it, it did. Just
Okay.
people who are seeing maybe, but it did. I mean, it does.
Right. So it just took a little bit of time for yours to start working. And you may try different pendulums also to see if one works better for you than another. I have another one that doesn't have quite such a heavy pendulum on it. I guess that's what it'd be. So you may also try other things. You can try, sometimes people will use necklaces that maybe have the ashes in them, and so you just want to have a good amount of, I like metal personally because I feel like it conducts electricity, but you want to have, I don't know, probably a good 6 inches, and then just some sort of weight on the bottom, because they're trying to make this move, and they're using a ton of energy to make this move. So I always just make it stop. in between also. So, does anybody have any questions at this point? I see a big smile back there. How's it going? Good. Did you get an I love you?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Have you worked with the pendulum before?
No.
No. Okay, excellent. And were you nervous at all about working with the pendulum?
No, I've seen it done before. I just have never done it.
But you've never done it. Okay. And were you able to feel your kiddo at all? Yes. Excellent. So it's kind of an emotional thing. Yeah, absolutely. See, the pendulum's like, yes, yes it is. All right, does anybody have any other questions? Yes.
You told us the story about how you ended up with that pendulum, but if somebody wanted to go buy a pendulum for the first time,
Okay.
what do you look for? How do you do that?
Oh, that's a great question. So the question is, I want to work with pendulum, but how do I buy one? What do I do? And so my answer that I always love to give is ask Spirit to guide you to the right one. It doesn't have to be crystal. Crystals are a really good magnifier of energy. And so I think that some of these are just, pretty and chakra pendant will help balance your energy centers. But really, I think you're just looking for something that has some weight to it and something that has probably, 5-6 inches or so of length. You don't want it too long because then it takes a lot of energy to get it moving. But I would really say, all right, angels, help me find the right pendulum. And then when something comes to you or you come across it and you're like, oh, that feels right. There's no right or there's no wrong necessarily. It's going to be kind of what your preference is, but you just want it to have some weight, but not like super, super heavy.
So if there's a selection and your
would be
angels
drawn
guide you to
to-
one, would you go through the process of
What I would do
clearing it
is-
and asking questions?
I would, so if I saw this beautiful selection of pendulums and I'm like, oh, like a kid in a candy store, I would just go where I felt drawn, like which one visually looks appealing, where, if they have crystals on it, what stones are on there that I personally like. But I would really just go with the one that just kind of feels right based on looking at it. So I wouldn't pick up and try out I wouldn't go and clear every pendulum and try them out and try yes or no. I would really work on trusting the law of attraction, that I'm going to find the right thing for me,
Okay.
and I'm not going to overthink it. Just like oracle cards, the first Helping Parents Heal conference, I did a quick session of using the pendulum and teaching oracle cards in 1 hour. And it was this really fast, fun session. But even if you want to use cards to learn to communicate with spirit or with your guides, they have mediumship cards too. Again, it's going to be, what am I naturally drawn to? That's what's going to be right for you. But there really isn't anything wrong either. Something might just feel more right than something else.
Okay.
So if you're like, oh, I love amethyst, and there's a beautiful amethyst one, then fantastic. Right? But if you're like, ooh, that red carnelian is really gorgeous, and I just feel it calling me, then that one's right for you.
Right.
So that's a great question. I love the idea of standing in front of, like, ooh, all pendulums, and what do I like?
Is all of them a wrong answer?
Maybe for your wallet, I'm not sure.
You're saying you can never have too many pendulums?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, you will find something that really resonates with you, and that's going to resonate with your energy, and that's really what you're looking for.
Okay, just the one, the right one.
The right one, or two, maybe three. You can try mine out if you want. You can see how it feels different. I would definitely, you could pick up a couple and see which one. Because you might pick up one and it doesn't really do much. So like, well, this one's broken. It's not really broken, but it may not just be the right fit for you.
Yeah.
So, but I still think a lot of it has to do with trusting yourself and connecting with what's right for you. Even if you're not sure, like law of attraction steps in, what's for you doesn't go past you, and so the right thing will find you.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. That's a great question.
So
Yes.
along that same
Yes.
line, so we bought some pendulums for friends,
Okay.
and they haven't been very successful for them.
Okay.
So
They might need to clear them if they haven't cleared them. You can also put them under a full moon. So full moon energy is supposed to be a good cleanser, clearing thing. If you have stones, be careful about putting them in like salt or some sort of, usually it's like salt, because it can damage your stones if you have real stones. But if you purchase them for someone else and they don't seem to work right, I would clear them. And if they still don't work right, I would pass them along to somebody else, and then maybe they can pick out something that resonates with them better. Yeah. Or give them back to you, because they're probably for you.
I picked them out, they're probably for me.
Yeah, you're like, here, these are for you. I'll get them back in 6 months. Thank you very much. All right, yes.
Should you have one with you at like all times or something, or?
I think in the beginning, when you're learning to work with the pendulum, I think carrying it with you is fine. The only thing that I get concerned about is if you're getting really dependent upon it, because coming from my point of view, I still think it's important to open up your abilities so that you can hear them, so that you can get the messages and the visuals and things like that. So you might get a nudge. Actually, it's a great point, Ceiling. You might get a nudge that pendulum. You might hear it in your head. You might have an urge to go get it. That's always going to be a good sign too that your daughter is wanting to sit down and have a conversation. So I think if you sat down probably once a week and had a conversation and have some questions ready, that would be really good. I just think, and I know that it happens, and I understand that sometimes people use it every day, and we still have to human, and we still have to be present here, even though we don't want to be, and we want to be present there with the kids. But I think if you probably have a date once a week, maybe sit down with your coffee and your pendulum and ask them to come in and get yourself grounded, and ask Archangel Michael to come in and be present, and turn off your phone and just put on some nice relaxing music. You don't have to light a candle. You can if that's part of a ritual or something you like, and then just say, hey, let's have a conversation. And then you can have your pendulum. You could record it if you wanted. So if you're asking questions and you can record what your pendulum's doing, you could write things down. So you could write their answers down, but as I say that, it comes into my mind, what will happen over time working with this is you'll start to have thoughts that come into your head. It's not yours. So you'll start to get to that point where it's that telepathic communication where this is a fun tool, and this is like, oh, the door's open and we can start to talk. But this also takes a lot of energy for them to get thoughts and messages across. So when you're working with it, be mindful that when it comes into your head, it probably doesn't sound like their voice. It probably doesn't come through in your physical ears. It sounds like your own thoughts, and that's where people get caught thinking that they're making things up, because it's not their human voice talking to you in your mind or with your physical ears. But it really is, it's subtle. So you might start hearing things, and I mean that in the best way, that they're thoughts in your mind, and then you could get out your pendulum and say, okay, I think you said this. Did I get it right? And then you can check in. And then it ultimately shifts where maybe you do the automatic writing and you practice channeling that way, channeling, bringing messages through from spirit, where you get to the point where you have that telepathic connection, and this becomes an every once in a while tool, or you get that nudge. But in the beginning, I think sit down once a week and have a conversation and continue to practice with it. You're holding energy, you're channeling energy because you're connecting with them and you're listening for them to talk to you in your mind too. But I don't want people to overdo it, because we do still have to be here. We do still have to be taking those steps forward and integrating into this new life that we're in, right? It's the answer is like, yes, that's right, that's right. So have a coffee date, or You know, if you sit in the car for 10 minutes and just have a conversation. But I just personally don't want you guys getting too dependent upon it, and that's the only way you can talk with them, because that's not the case at all. You can use oracle cards, you can do the writing, there's other ways to connect with them. But if you want to carry it around with you, and every once in a while be like, hey, so, or hey, Archangel Michael, tell me about whatever, I think it's a good visual, so you know that you're getting the right answer, that you're picking up on it. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Anybody else have any questions about the pendulum? I know there's a couple of you that I want to talk to, so I promise when we're done, I'll sit down with you. Does anybody have any other questions about it? I know, hold on. I talked to the ceiling, don't mind me. So, when we're done with our session, because we kind of opened up, and we need to close back down. Thank your child for coming forward. Thank Archangel Michael for coming forward. I got somebody touching my head right now. I don't know who of you is going to feel that too. It just felt like a little brushing my hair. Thank them for coming forward. Ask Archangel Michael to cut cords between you guys. I know parents always hate when I say that. It's like, I don't want to be disconnected from my child. But it's not that. It's the energy can flow back and forth, and you don't want to get drained. And so you just kind of want to turn things back down. But it doesn't disconnect you from your child. That's never, ever going to happen. Love is always there. And you can turn them up and turn them down as you want to. But you don't want to, well, it's my opinion, it's how I don't want to operate in the world. I don't want to be wide open, but I hear all spirit everywhere, at all times, wherever I go. Because I still have to be human, and I have my obligations and things like that too. So I can't just stop and tend to every spirit that's around me. That's not it's not the way that I show up in the world. So you can turn yourself up. One of the tools I also like to share. So in your imagination, real quick, and I'll give you this one last little piece. In your imagination, I want you to imagine a recording studio. And in the recording studio, there's a sound mixing board. So you've got the artist on the other side, you've got the sound engineers, and you've got all these buttons and knobs and levers. You can imagine that you have one for seeing, one for feeling, one for hearing, one for knowing. And this is your intuition sound mixing board. And you can turn it all the way up when you sit down to talk to your kids. And then when you're done, you kind of want to turn it back down. So you don't turn them off, but you don't broadcast to everybody, everywhere, that you can feel and hear and see things, even though that might sound like fun for a short amount of time. A short amount of time, you want to turn it back down when you're not having an actual session, sitting down, talking with your kids. So ask Archangel Michael to kind of cut the cords. And even when the meeting's over, because everybody's energy's all enmeshed together and loving on each other, even when you separate from a large group, you want to cut cords. So you're not draining each other, or Paula's not thinking of me later and I sent all my energy into her and she's like, well, am I feeling the way that I am? It's just an energy management technique, so your energy stays clear and other people aren't really affecting yours. Because we're still here and we still have to human. So have fun with your pendulums. Ask detailed questions. The more detailed, the better. If it gets muddy, cleanse it. If it still is like, things aren't making sense, put it away, come back to it in a couple of days. Just put it down, step away from it, and then come back. But I think that they're a lot of fun. I know, right? They're a lot of fun. And it's a really good way to start to trust yourself in connecting with your kids. So have fun with it and ask. You can even pull out your pendulum. Hey, do you guys like to communicate this way? You can ask your kiddo, do you like this? Is this something that you would like to do? And then trust whatever comes through. So hope you guys have fun with it. I am on social media if you're getting stuck or need some help or anything like that. You can always reach out to me too if you have something going on. I'm happy again to support parents and help you on your spiritual journeys and, you know, find that light again. Walking with your kids in a different way, because this isn't how the human you thought things were going to be, but this is where we are. So how do you grow with them? You don't leave them behind. You just move forward with them. So they all got you here on purpose so they could play with that they're very present with you and loving on you every second, every minute of every day. So thank you so much for coming. Again, if you have questions, let me know. So, all right, thank you.